Hello everyone, this is Cookies, and I've got another turn for you for the second round of Lisa's tournament. We've got two messages, one from Agartha, all going fairly well, apart from some unlucky retreats. Yeah, we saw that. He brought two commanders and they both managed to get damaged. I think one got killed and then one retreated. On track for a great expansion, and I have two forts underway already. Planning to start two more in the next two turns. I've already reached out to my neighbors and secured borders largely, and picking my first war target is my current priority. I am leaning towards Pyrene, since they don't have an expander and seem to be struggling a little. Also, my Dominion is on their farm, so it's tanking the income. Whoops. So, yeah, this is when you're on in a small game, and I consider 9 players to be a pretty small game, you do want to move fast. And if you don't move fast, particularly on map nuke maps where it becomes apparent very quickly whether or not you're having okay expansion, it can be very easy to attract a lot of negative attention if you're not expanding quickly enough. So we're seeing Pyrene's struggles already starting to work against them here, but they might have a couple of turns to prepare. Then we get a message from Tianchi. Hi, Cookies. Hear the east wind blow. It is the sound of locusts devouring the fields. Okay. A little bit of poetry here. It's been a long time since I've taken poetry-related classes, so I don't know exactly what kind it is. I don't really see like a rhyming scheme to it, but the first letter of each one spells hid. But I don't know if that means anything. This is the message I sent to Patala this turn as I raided his farmland. Uh-oh. Based on my scouting so far, both Calum and Patala have had slow starts. Yep, that's accurate. The core strategy to my build is to quickly scout out the weakest neighbor and descend upon them as soon as possible and either beat them handily or send as many raiding parties as possible to just choke them out. Well, I believe Calum might be weaker. It would take me several turns to get into position, and their cold scales would hinder my movement. We shall see if this ends up being a genius move or horribly backfire. Okay. No, I think that's fair. So, going after Patala for a little bit more rapid movement. Tianchi should be able to do this more than many of the other players because they have the was it the heavy barb horseman that they can recruit, I believe, anywhere. We can take a quick look at that after we go through all the battles here. So we've got two bumps. Let's focus on those. So the people interested in those can go ahead and go about their day. We've got a bunch. Let's see, we've got some heavy barb horsemen, but we've also got some ancestor vessels mixed in. And this is just PD. It looks like there was a Naga warrior here, but I guess it retreated from a lack of leadership. Oh, it was a Nagaraja. So this was a site searcher then, and it was scripted to retreat, which is good. Alright. Then we had one other, I guess, bump, but it was... Alright, so first off, Pyrene takes Nilmeria. So we've got these. This is that little group of heavy cav. Okay, they've swapped targets. Alright. Pretty solid there. And then we've got a little bit like a bump or something. What is this? Why are you here? Man's not assassin expanding. So maybe he just had like a messed up movement command. Alright, well, that guy's dead, though. Okay. And then let's go ahead and go through the rest of the battle. So in Copper Woods, we've got the Citis Heavy Infantry. Unfortunately, these slingers won't fire while they're in bodyguard. And I do think you would want them to fire. Oh, look, no, they are firing. Okay, that's nice. The barbarians have routed, so he can give them a proper script next time. And they go ahead and route the crossbows. He might have lost one or two. Oh, that was more than I thought. He lost 5 barbarians and 5 halberdiers. Looks like primarily to crossbows is my guess. These light infantry probably killed off a lot of the barbarians, but I wasn't watching it quite that closely. Alright, so we've got Pyrenes, another heavy cavalry group. Looks like they're figuring out expansion. Heavy infantry here are an issue. It gets them to route just in time, though. And that looks successful. Yeah, Pyrene can have pretty good expansion. So, not sure where the troubles were, but it looks like Pyrene's figured it out now. We've got or maybe it was more like a production issue. They needed the resources. We've now got the Dracolich swooping in. Are we in Dominion? We are. Here's the Undying Bless. Okay. Then in the Weald, Citis attacking, or pinging rather, a throne, and it's a monolith throne. I would just leave this alone. Not gonna lie. Especially with Kithronic Lions. I don't think that's something you want to mess with right now in Citis. For man, we've got the Boar. As a reminder, Chakras, Natty Prot, and Mountain Survival. Flying Shield, Enlarge, and Personal Regen. Deals with the heavy cavalry for the most part. Jumps into the commander line. Okay, no issues there. Then we've got another Agarthan expansion. The spread line of Cave Knights. This one's probably got like a limp or something. Cripple. Alright. They're pretty tanky, so goes just fine. Citis and Sleepy Wolds. We've got the dragon with the snake ring. Alright, and let's see how much imp spam we get. Now, imps have pretty terrible morale. They're very cowardly, and this guy's got a fear 10 fear effect. So I think a lot of the imps are just going to fly away as soon as they land. But these blowpipes with their fatigue could definitely get interesting. Now, I think it's got an effect on damage. Okay. So the reason why it's not really affecting him is because he's got 21 protection. And so for this thing to affect, the 10 damage blowpipe has to punch through the 21 protection, which is very unlikely. We haven't seen it happen yet. Do have a few dark vines though. Slowly creeping up. The attack rear. So as soon as the Dark Vines got near him, he's already jumped in the back. Alright, so they actually almost killed the dragon. And that was a combination of... They didn't actually fatigue him out. There was danger there where if a couple of blowpipes landed and fatigued him out, that they would have killed him. So that could have been really dangerous. Sorry about the Discord pings. I went ahead and closed Discord. So that could definitely have gone worse than it did. The other thing is these guys have armor-piercing attacks. So if they do land, the 12 damage root attack can actually DRN through the 21 protection. So that's also an issue. But yeah, looks like he just got worn out. Enough lucky hits, and they managed to repel him. So I think that was down here. Kills 2 of the Bloodhinged Dreads, uses up all their blood slaves, kills 5 of the blowpipes, and I think a fair number of them routed as well. Alright, Imbogaton. So if he comes back next turn, he'll probably succeed. We have a tremendous number of longbows with some space for these Naga warriors, including some Nagaraja, I guess, like thugs almost. Yeah. This expansion party seems too big. So he's kind of maximized not taking attrition, but on the flip side, I think the longbows still run some risk of bonking through friendly fire, but this probably could have been split up. This is just, I think, potentially too slow. So loses a few things to take a pretty easy province. He outnumbered the Indies, which is normally pretty rare if you've got some sort of bless. Then we've got Orstengrad. So a few Ice Guard. We've got the other Black Dragon, and this guy's going to do some point buffing, it looks like. Or not, or he's going to do Air Shield. Temper Armor's Blessing. So we got a few guys to eat Lance charges. This is not a profit. This is a little bit dangerous. This guy, yeah, he's routed. He's definitely not happy about having to deal with heavy cavalry. And so he's picked up a chest wound and battle fright. Not something you want on a Caprec mage. And he might even die still. So, because even with, let's see, was it a hard skin? Yeah. So even with hard skin, he's at 22 protection. But heavy cavalry can punch through that, particularly with the lance hit, since the let's see, the charge bonus, half of the strength. So if it's 5, it's a 21 damage lance, so it can DRN through this guy. Just a really tough province. We'll see how it goes, though. He might not have lost the mage. The Ice Guard, though, absolute troopers, hanging on for dear life. Okay. So this guy's retreated. The dragon ends up clearing the province. Yeah, that was tricky. Good grief. Loses 3 of the Ice Guard. But, I mean, is successful. Definitely warranted having some consideration for that province. Alright, we got Satis, Assassin expanding again. So that's successful. Alright, and then in Kunaral, we've got Man attacking some independents. So we got some spears, some tower knights. So the spears ate the lance charges. That's why they're running. But the knights should finish this off. The spears were able to get off the battlefield, though. Okay. But still successful. We have a couple of expansions from Marignan. The Omnipresent Virtue, going after the Jaguar tribe. Is it even in Dominion? Still not in Dominion. Does not care. Willing to rock on with 43 hit points. Okay. In Bell, the Royal Guard continue their assault upon Grey Flags. They've just got so much protection at around 20 that Indies have a hard time punching through. So no casualties. Agartha in Caverns of Gannett. Still with the very large party. The Drake Lords are out in front. It's a hold and attack. I mean, it's Pale One, so it's not going to matter, but... I do sometimes get a little bit worried. You never know if you might run into some goofy, like, mage that mind burns your commander because it was the first thing in line. Okay. And we've got Calum. These are the Earthbound. Oh, they moved forward a little bit, so their formation is a little bit broken up. Okay. But they should win this. They should be able to route these crossbows in a crossbow duel. Alright. So they lose 1 in Hamain. We've got Patala going in with the Mercs. This, I think, is a lot more useful for an expansion party. We have a Killy portion. And then we have... I mean, these guys are even pretty tanky. So crossbows could have taken this on their own, it looks like. And then Smacia, we have presumably the cat. There's a lot of heavy cav. Personal Reach-In, Twist Fate, Gift of the Hair. Tanks the lances. That was the hard part, so should be good to go. And the Indies realize it too. Alright. Then we've watched Nilmeria, and now we've got Zoglia. Another group of Cave Knights. I'd just leave this guy in 5 times hold and then stay behind troops. Would not want him getting shot with a crossbow. So here's the Drake Lord. And it looks like he did indeed get shot with a crossbow, but it was his mount. Oops, that's not what I wanted. And he blocked a crossbow bolt. Looks like it just rolled low. But yeah, he did get shot with a couple of crossbows, so there was definitely some danger there. Loses a cave knight, but takes the province. Okay. So in terms of getting around underground, we've got the Sigarthan force here. They should be able to box up and take out the other group of Zots. And that'll be a completed cave. Satis, I don't think, is going to contest this or be able to contest it. Let's look at Agartha first. So they've got 2 caves. They're likely to get another. So 4, 8, 11, 14, 15, 16. So 16 provinces by turn 8. That's a great tally for Map Nuke. And you can see its impact on their borders. So they've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of the contested provinces. And realistically, there were only 3, 4, 5, 8, 10 available. So they've already won expansion. They've come out ahead. They're already moving through a cave. There's potential for more. They could go after Boar Woods. And I don't know, Dracolich into Barbs is a little scary. He might be leaving that for Pyrene as well. So, but yeah, I think Agartha's in a pretty good spot here. Were they the ones that messaged us? Leaning towards Pyrene. Okay. So we've seen Agartha. Let's go ahead and look at Pyrene. So Pyrene's done a little bit better this turn. They've got 2 groups of their Sacred Cavalry out running around. They took one of the contested regions. This is doable, it looks like. For 6 Cambion Knights, it might be a little difficult. But I think you have to try at this point. It's just getting pretty dire. Like this, your cap circle still being independent on turn 8 when other nations are nearly done with expansion is pretty dire. Don't have an easy way to... Oh, yeah, you do have a bridge here. So, yeah, two in your box of 9 still not taken is definitely concerning. They're at... Is that 8 provinces on turn 8? Which in some games is okay, but this game seems very aggressive. We have a lot of awake expanders. And it's a 9-player game, which tends to be more aggressive because it's smaller. So this probably just isn't quite good enough. I mean, would we put Agartha at 16? So we had 2 underground, 4, 8, 12, 16, maybe, oh, did I even miscount it? Maybe it's 17. 9, 12, 15. Yeah, so Agartha's on 17. So Agartha's twice as big as Pyrene already. They've got a fort going up in Bountiful Land. And they've got the full cap circle for, or I call it a cap circle, full fort circle for it, which is kind of nice. Even if you're kind of competing with it, the Agarthan capital. All right. I don't think Pyrene has a fort going up either. So, yeah, I think this is pretty dire for Pyrene. Now, when it comes to man, we've got 4, 8, 12 so far. Normally that would be pretty decent expansion, but there's so many expanders. I think over including Calum, which also apparently took an expander with the bird. I think we're at 7 or 8 expanders. The vast majority of the lobby is running expanders. And a lot of them are running flying expanders. So we see here Marignan took the full border with Man. Agartha got a favorable border with Man. Even Patala got one of the border provinces from Man. Man did get favorable borders with Pyrene. And oh, that'd be an interesting bump. And I think Man's going to want Kedra. Oh, but all right. So I believe TNC is probably going to just keep attacking Patala. Okay. So Man should be fine to take Kedra. So that'll put Man at... Did Man get... I don't think they got one cave entrance. They're not prepared yet to go through it. And they do have a fort under construction in Ostmark. They've also got a bunch of troops here. So we could see these troops take this. And then maybe the Pretender will also show up here. Not sure. And then maybe they'll think about going after this throne. That could be a play, certainly. All right. So a very competitive row. All right, let's go up here. All right, so we've got TNC starting a turn 8 war on Patala. Generally, I'm not a fan of starting wars while there's still gray flags. But if they've negotiated this, maybe their cat's going to take this, or they've negotiated it to Calum. This might be set aside for Pyrene, depending if they've negotiated that. So, and they can always take this whenever, because it's between them and Patala. Any forts going up? I don't think so. So I think here it's just going to be foreign recruiting as much stuff as possible. And then trying to get it mobilized against Patala, who they're attempting to rush down. Now, Patala has a very strong party here in Bogotan. So we'll see if they try to catch this. They've got a little bit of stuff in their capital as well. I'll be extremely concerned if it just runs back to the capital and patrols. I think you have this stuff patrol. And oh, I hope this wasn't their fort. Were they trying to build a fort here? Give me 1 second. I'll pull up turn 7. Okay, well, if they were trying to build a fort, we're not... It would have had to been over the intern where they lost the province. Okay, so that's fine. I think I'd like to see this group retake the farm in Bogotan. It's unfortunate that TNC raided this. They used the raid command, which means there was a pillage effect, so the unrest got spiked. So even if they retake it, they're not going to get a lot of gold from it. But I still think it's probably too strategic. I think you have to retake this and then try and push back from there. It's unfortunate for Patala too, because, and in some ways for TNC, because Patala hasn't had time to stake their claim on a lot of these independent provinces. So Man's likely to take this. They're not going to be able to contest this cave. I mean, these are in their box of 9, but I mean, if TNC is attacking Patala, some of this stuff might get vultured by Atlantis. Atlantis will almost assuredly take this now. But if your only goal is the Jeweled City and getting this gem income, then you probably won't mind a little bit of vulturing. But yeah, there are some downsides to not letting Patala stake their claim on some of the independents. Not the least of which is now you have to fight the independents rather than Patala PD. Okay, well, I'm assuming this group will come back. It can try and defend Cassian Forest. This group can try to take Bogaton. And then I think you take what other stuff you've got and you try to defend your capital. You can maybe move some of the stuff from this party back into Patala. But you got to try to gain some sort of initiative here because Tianchi is just going to be foreign recruiting a bunch of stuff. I think this is just tough. Patala is probably too small. And they're not even going to have a cat that they can mobilize. Although Tianchi is probably not in any particular rush. They might try and take this before mobilizing the cat. And they might use it on here too. So I think Patala's in very dangerous waters at 6 provinces on turn 8. Now Tianchi, what are we looking at for them? 3, 6, 9, 12, 15 provinces? Roundabout? Yeah, no caves. Which is, I mean, that's decent. So in terms of the contested border regions, they're at 2 out of, let's see, we've got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 10 again. They've taken, now a couple of these are in the Patala portion, but they've taken 5 of 10 for the easily contestable ones, which is pretty good. So yeah, I guess they can start looking towards war. They might even be able to improve that with their cat a bit. I do think you want, do you fort this? 3, 4, 5? I mean, 5 gems is probably worth forting, but you might not want to affect your ancestral, was it ancestor vessel production? Okay. And then last up in the row, we've got Atlantis. Now, Atlantis is at 11 provinces. So that's pretty solid. Considering I don't think they had an expander. Or no, they did. They had a black dragon. But there's a bunch of underwater that they'll be able to claim as well. So they do have that going for them. They haven't bothered claiming it yet, but let's see, in terms of land provinces that are contested, they're at, let's see, we're at 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and they've gotten 4. So that's reasonable. And they'll get a 5th here and a 6th here. So they'll end up ahead. They're just going to lose some tempo because they'll have to dive underwater at some point. So it remains to be seen if they'll get that tempo. Cavemen is tough for that cave entrance. They don't have any other cave entrances they've secured. All right, now Cetis. I believe they were running around with who had the Dracolich? Agartha did. So Cetis, I think, was also a black dragon. Let's go ahead and we've got some assassin expansion here. So they go ahead and kill this last commander. This commander is a champion. All right. So, let's see. Now, in terms of contested, I'm assuming it's 10. It seems like Lucid's gone out of his way to make sure it's 10 that aren't underwater. So Satis has gotten 4. They did bounce off of Sleepy Wolves, but the dragon didn't die, which was the most important part. So they could try to go back. Sending the dragon into Royal Guard could be dangerous. Cave Knights could also be dangerous, but I think I'd be more scared of the Royal Guard. They did get a cave system, so they can start moving against these Bakemono. And they'll find an iron mine down here. It's a really nice cave province, too. Holy moly. 21,000 pop. Let's see. Overall, they're at 5, 10, 14. So they should be able to wrap up in the next couple of turns. I mean, they'll have to send a party on an adventure through here to go get the cave. Where does it end? Ends on the other side of the throne. Okay. I mean, they've got 3 cave entrances, so they have a lot of potential to grab more. Yeah, this still isn't taken, so they might get 2 out of that. They're not going to get this one. But, I mean, they've still got some more potential land to gain. So I think they're in reasonable shape. Alright, next up we've got Marignan, the very fast expanding virtue. Any assassin expansion? I'm not seeing the little shadowy figures. Now, in terms of expansion, Marignan's done 4, 5, 6 contested provinces. So they've taken more than half of the 10. So that's good. They've taken their whole inner 9. They have not dove into the caves. Don't blame them on that one. That's a lot of cavemen. And they've just found this other entrance, which is Bakemono, and they can absolutely dive underground there to try and get that. We have a fort under construction here, a fort under construction here. You do have Misfortune 1, so I think they've got 11 PD, but you might want to send some Royal Guard to guard these constructions. But, 2 coastal forts rapidly going up. And I think he can start thinking about thrones. If this is negotiated, the Black Dragon will probably make a second attempt here. Which means this stuff, Royal Guards and Pikeneers. What do you do with this stuff? I'm not sure. Did we get a message? No, that was Tianchi. It could definitely, with this not being taken yet, I could see the virtue going here. And seeing no Calum stuff here, I could see this Royal Guard party actually going to Troll Canyons. So unless Marignan's negotiated some of this, I could see them taking even more. Just being very greedy. But they might be strong enough to get away with it because of this virtue. Alright, so I think that's... What are we looking at for expansion? We've got 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. Alright, super solid. Potential for a little bit more. They have slow expanding neighbors in Patala and Calum. They got the border with Man. They got a favorable border with Satis. And those were the 2 neighbors that did expand reasonably well. So yeah, I think you want to just get these forts up. Maybe maybe try and do some cave spelunking and then take a look at thrones potentially. Especially if you get this wasteland. I don't know about fighting the monolith. Yeah, that's ambitious. Unless the virtue can just tank it all, but the monolith will sometimes do gifts from heaven. Yamabushis have super nice stats. And there's a ton of them. Vampires. That's probably tricky. I think this throne looks the most doable. So you could rally stuff to go take this throne. And then maybe the Throne of Air here. So we got Crystal Throne and Throne of Air. Marignon. I believe they get a spy. Somewhere in this ginormous lineup, yeah. So if you make a Troubadour, or maybe if they've got other spy chassis, they could do that. What you can do is you can... They might need a magic path, but I think you can just take the spy. And you can run them under these thrones, so you can see what thrones they are, so you know which ones to go for. So like, this one's amazing because you get gnomes out of it. I mean, reinvigoration is nice, earth income is also nice. But, I mean, to me, Crystal Throne is also pretty nice. Throne of Air is amazing. And then you've got the Throne of Death down here with all the vampires on it. So that can sometimes help if you're trying to decide which throne to commit to. If you make a spy or two at some point during expansion, you can run them under the thrones to see what they are. So, but yeah, I think that's... Oh, I don't think we've talked about Calum. So Calum's got 6 provinces. Still single expanding on turn 8. Although it looks like they're ready to double expand. So maybe they'll go here. I don't know if that's going to bump with this Cetus Force. This group could try going down here to take this. But yeah, Calum's going to be in a rough spot. Which is unfortunate because Calum can be pretty good in late age. But yeah, I don't... Like, even with this Palisade here to help up production, I don't know, like, probably could have gotten more production more quickly if you hadn't made the Palisade. I'm not sure. But all of this feels pretty slow. So I am concerned about them, because when you're slow in expansion, you do look like food. And when first wars are getting picked, you don't want to look food-like. So, all right. Well, I think that's it for this one. We're very quickly coming to the point where most of the gray flags are gone. A lot of very fast expanders. Yeah, because we have a boar here. We've got the Dracolich, Virtue, the bird, the Corpse Eater bird. Not using an expander has the cat, has a black dragon. Not using an expander and has a black dragon. So I think out of the 9 players, only 2 don't have expanders, which I have never seen before, ever. But it is really interesting. I think this could be a very fast-paced game, which I'm enjoying. The players are clocking through turns, too. I woke up this morning to a turn, got that recorded, and barely made it to a dental appointment this afternoon. And then as soon as I came back, there was another turn ready to go. So hopefully I can continue to keep pace with this. And I will see you guys in the next one. Have a good one. Bye.